So we walk through the second chamber. Where we are now is the very third chamber. So in this third chamber, 200 men, barefooted in chains and in shackles. Two open spaces up there, their source of light and ventilation. This very big open space is a spy hole. Now the entrance of the spy hole is right in front of the church. So ironically, right above the male slave dungeon was a church. Society for the Propagation of the Gospel, SPG Church, today the Church of England or the Anglican Church. Now all the three castles I mentioned, they established churches over there. And each church sits comfortably on top of each dungeon. Inside this Cape Coast Castle where the tree started, there were two churches. At the courtyard where they branded them with a water metal from the farm, that was where they established the Methodist Church. And whenever they use the entrance, go in to preach the word of God. Love your neighbor as yourself. Do not commit murder. Do not fornicate. They could smell dead bodies from the south. Wow. They could hear the rattling of the chains. They could hear them screaming out loud in pain and in anguish for freedom. The females down at the female dungeon, they were also being raped against their will. Yet they were right up there, preaching all the 10 commandments. So right about this religion, right belief was total business. Why establish churches on top of each dungeon? Just to remind you at every microsecond, you are inferior to them, they are superior. Even on your own land, you mean nothing at all to them. Therefore, the whole dungeon was their storage rooms. The innocent Africans in here were human cows. They saw them to be just like the gun and gunpowder they were bringing in. So Christianity in Ghana today, it started from the castles inside the dungeons where the trade was happening. And what we stand on here is still the decomposed waste. We are standing on the feces, the urine, sweat, blood, vomit, food particles. But as we keep working on, it keeps compressing down. And any cement work you see around is just for the maintenance of the castle. There are no cement works in this building. There are no cement, no iron rods. They used oyster shells, lime powder, bent bricks. So this beautiful architecture we see here with a very savage tree behind it, the same enslaved Africans, they built it. They are the ones that will grind the shells, build it, whilst the Europeans will just supervise them. Do we have any questions? No questions. All right, carefully move down. All right, so this is the very last chamber, or the fifth chamber. So in this small chamber, to 200 men here, barefooted in chains and in shackles. You realize, comparing this chamber to the rest of the chambers, you realize in here there are no artificial lights, but the place is quite bright because of this big open space for sunlight. This is because this is the same chamber that separates them when the ships arrive on our shore. Once they are being marched through the entrance, you come in here and wait for the ships to arrive. When the ships arrive, nobody goes back into the ships through the entrance. They go through a tunnel. So the shrine was in here. But behind the shrine was a very big tunnel, about 70 meters deep. And the tunnel connects directly to the door of no return. A very short and a very narrow open space. But before they are being marched through this tunnel, the extension of the room over there, that room leads nowhere. But there are doctors and nurses in there. They will examine them again. Keep your weaker captives over there. When you die, dead body is being thrown into the sea. When you heal properly, you sit in here and you wait for the next ships to arrive. Now with the stronger captives, they use the sunlight together with the branding they have on their bare skin, hot metal from the farm to their bare skin to sort them out, to know whose captives are these and whose captives are these. After they separate them, barefooted in chains and in shackles, they are marched through this time. They will meet the females in front of the door of no return, where they will go through it into the bigger ships. They transport them to the New World of the Caribbean, some to America, also to Europe. But in the year 1834, under the command of Captain George McLean, once an administrator in this castle, they blocked this town to abolish the transatlantic slave trade. Now, McLean was a Scottish man appointed by the British to come in here and settle the disputes. He is the architect of the bond of 1844. McLean arrived there in 1830. Now, when he arrived, he realized the British Indians were still trafficking Africans, because over there in England, in 1807, they had already passed the law to put an end to those trade. But when he came in 1830, he realized they were doing it. So from 1807 to 1830, when he came, they were still trafficking Africans illegally. Therefore, in 1834, he commanded them to block the tunnel to end the transatlantic slave trade in India. Today, we cannot walk through the tunnel. Both where it begins and where it ends has been blocked. But we'll move out. I will show you parts of the tunnel. How deep the tunnel is and where the tunnel also ends. Now, what we have here is a shrine. And the shrine wasn't here when the trade was happening. The Europeans, they brought in the Bibles. But before that, we knew there was a God. And we called them deities, locally Abosu. And this was our deity. In Cape Coast, we have 77 deities. And what we have here is the leader of all the 77, by the name Nana Tabor. So before the castle was built, the whole place was a bare land with a very big rock over here. And that rock is Nana Tabor. The local people or the Fitu people came in to pour libation to that rock. But when our chiefs and elders gave the land to the Europeans, they decided to take 2 pieces of the rock, send it back into the township so they can continue their worship. So the rest of the rock is what the whole castle was being built on. When we move out, I will show you part of this rock, just a part of it. Now, after they abolished the trade after we gained independence, the local people wrote a letter to the then government, pleading with them that they wanted the Tabor back at the castle where it should be. That is why today we have a shrine over here. So there is always a chief priest. He's not yet in. He takes care of Nana Tabor. Whenever you walk in and you request him to pray for you, he uses the hand maker over there. He pours libation in. Prays for your safe arrival, your safe departure. After a good prayer being said, if you want, you can put something small there, just to show appreciation to the cause of Allah for a good prayer being said. The stools over there are there because till today, people still visit the shrine for consultation. When they come in, they sit on the stools we have over there. And these are real. These were brought in by families, brothers and sisters from the diaspora. Mostly the African Americans that trace their roots back to the site. They bring in these streets to pay homage to their ancestors that died in there. Those that barefooted in chains and in shackles went through this dark tunnel through a very short and narrow open space called the Door of No Return, never returned home, and survived the fortune across the Atlantic Ocean to the land of the Caribbeans, to America, and to Europe. So at every cell, at every dungeon we are going to visit, we are going to see more of these reefs over there. And what we have here is still the decomposed waste of the enslaved Africans. We are still standing on their feces, their urine, their sweat, their blood, their food particles. That is what we are standing on now. Do we have any questions? No questions? All right. So the floors are slippery. Carefully let me have.
That's Africa. Africa is for Africans.
Oh, that's a danger. Wow. Wow. Going outside now for more history, more emotional history, more dramatic history.
All right.
Where we are now
now.
used to be an European cemetery. The whole courtyard used to be a cemetery. Now, 1996, the whole courtyard got excavated. Right beneath, there were so many unidentified graves. The only graves they could identify is the 4 we have here. But you realize this particular grave is being separated from the 3 we have over there. So the 3 lined up there, they are all Europeans. This man is a black man, the only black man that was buried here. A native from Cape Coast, born in 1741. Originally, his name was Kweku. Every male child born in Ghana on Wednesday is called Kweku. But the Europeans couldn't pronounce the name Kweku. They corrupted the name to Kwaku. Now, he wasn't a slave. His father was a middleman trading with the Europeans. Therefore, gained himself scholarship to go to Oxford University to be trained as a teacher, also a clergyman. Now, he didn't go alone. He went with 2 other Coastal boys, William and Thomas. Upon arrival, these 2 boys died. He was the only survivor. At the age of 24 years old, he was ordained as an Anglican priest, making him the first black man to be ordained as a priest. When he got ordained and baptized, they gave him the Christian name Philip. His name now became Philip Kwaku. He returned back into this castle, served the castle for 50 good years. So at a point in time, Philip Kwaku was leading an all-white congregation up in the same church. Right beneath, his fellow black men were being kept in chains and shackles. Personally, I don't blame him much, because even today, if you find yourself in the same situation, you would do exactly what they ask you to do just for your freedom. Philip Kwaku decided to leave the castle back into the township. When he arrived, he went to teach the young and adults how to read and write. So the first school to be built in Ghana was named after him, Philip Kwaku's Boys' School. The school is not far from the castle, just a walking distance away from here. He died on the 17th of October, 1816, at the age of 75 years old. The Europeans decided to bury him here because he helped them promote the Western churches, also the Western education. Please, are we good?
Yep.
All right, let's go. So these 2 graves, I said, are all Europeans. Now the very first grave here, C.B. Whitehead, a British Army officer. This man, till today, cause of death is still unknown. He died 1812 at the age of 38 years old. The middle grave is a woman, Letitia Elizabeth London. Now, when the Europeans were here, they were not bringing their families because they were dying of malaria. That is why anytime the men felt the urge to be intimate with a woman, they go down into the female dungeon, pick a woman of their choice, bring them up into their chambers and rape them against their will. After the rape, they send these women back into the dungeon to go and continue waiting for ships to arrive. Now, Letitia, being the husband of MacLean, decided to come in to visit the husband MacLean. 2 months upon her arrival here, she was found dead in the husband's bedroom with a bottle of poison sitting right beside it. Now, the school of thought had about 3 rumors surrounding her death. The very first rumor was, when Letitia arrived, she realized the husband MacLean was having an extramarital affair with a local woman, Miss Ellen Bannerman. Now, out of jealousy, depression, committed suicide, took in the poison. The second rumor was the mistress, Miss Bannerman, came in disguised as a maid. With the help of the husband, they poisoned her. Because even after she died, MacLean was still with this mistress. They even gave birth. The last rumor was she died of malaria. Till today, we don't know which of those 3 really killed Letitia. But she died 1838 at the age of 36 years old. Now, the very last grave, Captain George MacLean, once an administrator in here, the same man that commanded them to block the tunnel to abolish the trade, also started the very first judicial law court up at the MacLean Soul. This man is the architect of the bond of 1844. He died of malaria 1847 at the age of 46 years old. So 46, 36, 38, black man, 75. All right, let me take you this way. All right.
I think I have a question here.
Okay.
Is this the only cemetery, or you have a cemetery for also the soldiers and the rest?
That is not far from the castle.
Oh,
The school I made mention of, Philip Kwaku's boys, is just right to see the school.
so these are the important people.
Yes, they buried them here. All right, so what we have here is a water reservoir. Now they had 4 inside the castle, 2 down this way and 2 right up. Now this is where they stored water, and it was connected to the roofs of the castle where they harvest rainwater. This is where they'll get water to cook their food and drinking water from. I said at St. Manso is where they had their last bath. If you get in here, even if you're going to stay in the dungeon for 1 year, you don't get to bath again in here. But whenever they want to rape our females and they pick you from the dungeon, they bring you up here, fetch the same water, wash you up, just because they are taking you up to rape you. After the rape, I said, they take them back to the dungeon. Now today, it is no more connected to the roofs of the castle to harvest rainwater. It is connected through pipes, through to drain, so to collect pipe-on water. Whenever there is shortage of water in the castle, this is where we get water for all our domestic chores in. 18 feet deep, 8 wide. And it takes about 20,000 gallons of water to fill this well up. Do we have any questions? We're good. All right, so I'll take you up to the church. Come here. All right. So we stand right in front of the church that sits comfortably on top of the dungeon. Now this is the spy hole. The spy hole I showed you inside the dungeon.
Okay.
So they smell them from here. They hear them from here. Whilst they were in here preaching the word of God. Love your neighbor as yourself. Do not commit murder. Do not fornicate. Yes, they had innocent Africans right beneath them in chains and in shackles, crying out for freedom. So they were doing right opposite of everything they were preaching. Because how can you preach love your neighbor as yourself and be keeping innocent people right beneath you, maltreating them? The same place was being used as a school for the mixed race or mulattoes. So whenever they raped their females, they had most of them pregnant. The children they had with them, some call them mixed race, some call them mulattoes. They don't enslave them. They provide them with formal education in here, and the Reverend Thomas Thompson. When they go up in the castle, most of them become slave merchants. They work hand in hand with their fathers in here. But today the place is being used as a library for the local children of Cape Coast. They come in here right after school just to read some books. Please, are we good?
We're good.
All right, so let me take you up to the governor's residence. Let's go this way. Yeah.
Mulatto. You don't know, you don't listen to history?
Even I'm close to the mark.
Yeah, then I tell you, mulattoes, the slavery, together with the masters, they can't survive. Those 8, feed the slaughter, Papa is the master, 11 the mulatto.
See the view? Wow, that's remarkable. That's too much.
Look, you look better spikes, low.
Kind of small.
Where Isha was founded, out of class. But I want to show you a fort. Now before that, inside the dungeon on the shrine, I showed you 2 pieces of a rock I said is a deity.
Yeah.
Now this is just a part of it. So this is Nana Taber. 2 pieces of this rock is what we saw on the shrine. So the whole castle was built on the rock. Now when we look up, the Bible is over here. That is the I said when the Europeans arrived, they built different castles in West Africa. Ghana had 40 because of the gold. And among the 40 here, there were just 3 castles. The rest were forts. So the first castle was the St. George's Castle, built by Portuguese in 1482. The second one is the Christianborg Castle in Accra, the Osu Castle, built by Danes in 1661. The very last castle is the Cape Coast Castle, built by the English or the British in the year 1664. Now, each of these 3 castles they built forts around it to protect the castle from attackers. So what we have up there is Fort William. Now, Fort William protects the Cape Coast Castle from attackers. So when you stand up there, you see the whole of Cape Coast and its surroundings. So when the Swedish came here, they built a fort like that here called Fort Karolsberg. The Danes came in to attack the Swedish here. They took over that fort. The Dutch also came in, fought the Danes, took over the same fort. Now Swedish, Danes and Dutch, none of them stayed on the land for even a maximum of 5 years because they had no ammunition like this to fight back attackers. These are cannons. The balls are cannonballs. And these ammunitions were brought in by the British when they were coming. They came in very prepared. They knew how much gold we had on our land. Now with the longer cannons, it can shoot 1,000 meters away from here. The shorter one shoots 500 meters. So when the British came, they attacked the Dutch here. They took over the same fort, Karolsberg, expanded the whole fort into a very big castle we see here. When you stand up there, I said you see Cape Coast and its surroundings. So whenever the soldiers up there realize there are attackers on the ocean or the surrounding coming, they would have to send signal to those British soldiers in here. In the morning, they will wave a flag. In the afternoon, because of the sun, they will use mirror as reflection. In the evening, because there were no lights, they will stand up there and light up flag, sending the signal. Once they send the signals to soldiers in here, they make good use of these cannons. So they rotate it to wherever angle the attackers are coming from. They will now put in gunpowder, put the cannonballs at the mouth. This is where they will light the fire. So once the cannonballs inside heats up, it shoot right from the cannon straight into the attacking ships. Because ships are made of wood, as soon as this metallic ball penetrates, it leaves the hole. Seawater enters, the ships begin to sink. So this is the main reason why the British alone stayed here for so many years, and they were the last to leave here. When they were here, the Germans came in, French came in to attack them. But because they had these waiting for them, none of these people could win over the British here. And they left when we gained independence. So the British stayed here from 1664 to 1957 when we gained independence. So they did the worst of it all. They took most of our natural resources, also our human resources away. So all the cannons and forts surrounding each castle was there to protect the castles from attackers. Do we have any questions? You want to take pictures? Okay, so I give you like 1 minute to take pictures and we continue.